Okay, shall we start? Okay, until others join. So what I do is, I promised last time. I mean, there was a request because when I mentioned about the Hoshin, you will want to know that I think most of you guys are not familiar with the Hoshin process. So what I thought of to take a couple of minutes and at least I know that it's a maybe 1 day program, but let me try to manage within a couple of minutes to understand. Don't think about too much on this because it's a heavy subject. But for the moment, at high level, for you to understand how it works, right? So don't think too much on that. This is not a part of our subject because this is not there is no module for this. But since you want to know this, I will explain a high level, right? With that understanding, there may be a lot of technical jargons, but still let's understand high level. Don't go in detail. Within short period of time, I will try my level best to give a high level understanding about the Hoshin, right? When you say Hoshin, it's a Japanese word. Actually, it's Hoshin country. When you say Hoshin, is the direction, right? It's the direction. You can see the symbol, and also this is a direction, the true north. We call it true north, where we want to head in, right? As an organization at high level, maybe the business owner, maybe the board, they want to set the target, where you want to go within next 2 to 3 years, where you want to be, right? So you need to figure it out that. Then it's a country mean how we are going to manage the administration, deployment process, and what sort of controls, what sort of management we need to have. The country mean that how we are going to administrate that, right? You have to set the target, set in the direction, then the execution plan. So this is the meaning of Hoshin country, right? How it work, right? There are many steps, but as I said, don't take it seriously because it's not part of your subject. But just to understand, first you need to set the direction. Then you have to understand the mission and the goal. As an example, you can say we want to be 3 billion company by 2030. So that may be the aspiration target you have to set as an organization. Once you set that, you can't just it will be it can't be realized without having a proper strategies, proper alignment. You need to align the entire organization. If you are a group of company, you need to align your divisions, you need to align your factories. So entire organization in terms of the rest of the marketing to planning to finance, everybody should align to one direction. How you would do that? First you set the standards, then you understand the current state. Where are you now? And the battle, the barriers or challenges for you to go for you to achieve the target. For that, there are many tools we can use. Just familiar. If you have time, when you have time, just use the Google it and see, or you can use a lot of videos on this. The PESTEL, I think, if you have done already MBAs, I think you have covered this piece. PESTEL analysis, right? Then SWOT analysis, maybe the BCG, or those kind of tools that you can analyze. You can scan the market situation, and you can predict what is going to happen. What sort of obstacles, what sort of challenges we need to manage. And then based on your SWOT analysis, or in the sense that your strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats, based on your SWOT analysis, you need to figure it out how you are going to manage your challenges using your strength and the opportunities, right? Based on that, you have to develop the strategies and deploy to the next level, right? How we are going to do that at group level? If you are a group of companies, at group level, you may be having strategies. You may be having the policies first, then the strategies and the goals at high level, right? Those strategies become the next level. If you are a group of company, when you cascade to division, those strategies become policies for the division. You can see this red line, right? These strategies become policies for the next level. When you cascade to the next, say if you are cascading division level, then you cascade to the plant level or other department. When you cascade to the plant level, those strategies become their policies. Based on the policies, they have to develop. Once you know your policies, once you set your policies, then you have to set the high level goals. As say for example, if you are a division, if this is the division level, these are your targets. Group level, maybe you are targeting 3 billion. You want to be a 3 billion company by 2030, right? If that's the direction, you have to decide in this year, upcoming year, in 2025, how much you want to achieve. Out of that, say you can say we want to, achieve 2 billion. For you to achieve 2 billion, if you have 5 divisions, you have to divide based on their capabilities. Say one division, maybe you have given, okay, $500 million. If that's the case, the divisional target at the group global effect would be $500 million contribution from this particular division. For you to achieve that, what are your strategies? How you are going to do that? Align to the policies. You have to align your strategies based on the policies. Once you define that, then you have to define your KPI aligned to this, right? Aligned to these strategies. You have to measure the progress and assign the responsibilities. Maybe your marketing team, this is the target, planning team, finance team, plants. So each and every department, you need to assign the responsibilities and the KPIs. Finally, you will get something like this. This is the actual one I'm just sharing. 2015 one, 2015 Hoshin we developed. So you can see the same thing, right? This is the format. You can see the detailed one here. You can see here the policies. This is the high level goal, and these are the strategies. These are your KPI. These are the responsibilities. So this is something called Hoshin. This is very important actually when it comes to TQM also. If you want to implement something, first you need to have this Hoshin process in place. I mean, you can't just go and implement this. As an organization, if you have implement this process, then you have to include these TQM related policies, strategies into this, and define the KPIs and cascade to the relevant department. Because TQM is not just quality department is trying to do that. It should cover not only today. Also, we are going to discuss about the supplier relationships and the supplier management, including the supplier management, including your manufacturing, marketing. Everybody should be part of that journey, and you have to cascade as a division, as a group. You have to incorporate into the Hoshin, define the KPI, and assign the responsibilities based on your strategies and the policies. So this is what we discussed last time. I know that is too much technical and is heavy for you to understand within a couple of minutes. But unfortunately, we don't have much time to spend on this piece because it's not part of the syllabus. But still, if you have any question on this, at least at high level, I can explain. For you to understand what is Hoshin country. That's what we want to know. This is the Hoshin country process, and this is the Hoshin country formats. If somebody asks, this is what it is. So if anyone needs any clarification, please. I know it's very challenging for you to digest within a couple of minutes. Any high level, I can elaborate further if you want. Are you clear on this?
Actually, we don't have per, I mean the process as Hoshin, but we do the similar thing called
Okay.
strategy into action.
Okay.
Not in the same format, but the concept is mostly
Somewhat
similar.
similar.
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. With that, thanks for the feedback. With that, I will move to the today's topic. Right. Today's topic, basically, this is the TQM house. You all are familiar with this now. We are still in the base. We covered the roof a couple of weeks back, and still we are in the base. When it comes to the base, we covered operation stability last time. Rohan covered that base. Then the integrated system I covered. Today we are going to discuss about the supplier relationship. Right? Today we are going to discuss about the supplier relationships. So today also, initial 1 hour I will take part, and after the break, Rohan will take the rest of the piece. Right? I will cover supply selection, supply evaluation piece. These are the learning outcome of this module. Right? Understand supply selection process and why it is important. I think you need to write it down. Understand supply evaluation criteria. You will understand what are the things we should measure in terms of evaluation. Then the importance of having performance review with supplier. Right? Not just evaluation. After evaluation, what we are supposed to do. Most of the time, we do the evaluation, but we don't do the reviews with them. Right? So these are the learning outcome of today's first half. Right? If you all are done, I can move to the next slide. I hope you covered. I will move to the next slide then. So when it comes to supply, who is supply actually? When you say supply, anyone who supply any company, maybe someone or a company who provide goods or services to other part, right? So not just the raw material, right? It may be your transport provider. It may be if you are in apparel, maybe your embellisher. If you are outsourcing the embellishment, printing, embroidery, they are also your suppliers. If you are outsourcing your warehousing, they are also your suppliers, right? So this is the selection and evaluation steps. So this slide, I think, in nutshell, this is very important, and please pay your attention on this. I have highlighted. You can see A, B, C in red, right? Most of the time, in my experience also, when say for example, CK also can comment on this. When you want capacity, say embellishment, you are forecasting, say September, you are running short of printing capacity. Your existing supply base is not enough to manage the peak. So you are looking for printing partner for that particular period. You have overflow. So when it comes to that, if that decision is who is going to find the supplier, on what basis we are going to select the supplier, right? Who will involve, what sort of evaluation we should do, that is the important piece. So that's what we are saying. When there is a need comes based on maybe your forecast, maybe if the existing supply is not performing, you will something happen, there will be a requirement for the business. Once that requirement comes, you have to do when you get the supplier list, you have to pick the right supplier for that, not just embellisher. I'm just giving an example. How you do that, right? The one thing is the selection process. Let's go through that. When you selecting, what are the things we should look at? currently what you are trying to do, what are the areas you are looking at? Only the pricing? Most of the time, most of the organization, what I'm seeing is they look for the price. When it comes to the raw material, that decision is made by your business team or a sourcing team based on the pricing. They will not consult the quality department. They will not consult the sustainability team. Then they will end up with a lot of cost, a lot of failures, because at the end of the day, initial pricing is cheaper, yes, compared to the rest of the suppliers. Their quality much okay to select the high cost supplier compared to the failures they have. So that can happen, right? That can happen. So basically, first step is during the selection process, particularly we are talking about the TQM, particularly the quality department and the technical department, maybe the product safety, they need to involve, and the impact social sustainability and the environment sustainability piece, we have to measure that when it comes to the selection process. Then you should maintain the approved supply base, and you should have a control. I think most of you guys are with the quality background. This is also very important piece. When you say quality management, most of the quality managers misunderstood that their responsibility start from, maybe if you have an apparel, as example, start from the RM warehouse to the delivery. I think it's beyond that. Including the supply management, is this a proactive approach? You need to focus on that piece as well. You have to spend a lot of time on selecting. You have to get involved for the selecting process as well. If nobody is inviting you to get involved, you make a point and you have to make a noise. You want to get involved for the selection process. Once you do that, you should maintain the approved list, and that approved list should be signed by quality, technical, as well as the marketing and relevant team. So if somebody wants to purchase anything outside of the approved list, there should be the approval process. That process should be in place to avoid any surprises. Then I think I'm here now. You can see that. Then basically we need to do the performance evaluation. Right? Once you select, then they will start delivering. Then you have to monitor the performance evaluation. We will go through in detail. We have to do the evaluation. Then what we have to do is, again, we have to do the process audits and see based on the initial assessment like we did here, do the similar one time to time, maybe at least for 2 years down the line. You have to reassess and validate whether they are maintaining the same standards. So these are the 3 key gates, 3 elements of supplier selection and evaluation, right? With that, why it is important when it comes to selection? Obviously, if you don't select a right person, right supplier, you will get defects in the process, right? Then you have to spend a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of cost of failures, and sometimes you will lose the customer as well. And you have to, if you are to get the consistent quality output, you have to have the proper consistent quality inputs. Obviously, process alignment, right? As example, you have reduced your waste and you have to eliminate incoming inspection. Maybe you are doing the 100% inspection today, but this is a costly exercise. Why should you do that? If you have a partnership with your supplier, you can get their reports. You have to rely on their reports and continue your production, because nobody is paying for additional inspection you are doing, right? It's an additional cost you are carrying. When you reduce that incoming material inspection process, if your supply is not aligned to that, if the new supply also not aligned to that, what will happen? Then again, you will have failures. Or you have to build that capabilities. That means you have to add additional processes, additional costs. So that's why this point also, selecting the right person, right supply is important. Obviously, continuous improvement. For you to do the continuous improvement, you need to pick the right supplier with the right attitude, so that you can do the improvement as well. Otherwise, you will stuck whenever you want to do improvements. Their process is not flexible. They are not listening to you, and they are rigid. And because of that, you can't do the continuous improvement. Okay, I will give an example on this piece. Very interesting example. So we did one exercise. We want to improve the lead time reduction, right? One of our supplier, they were sending the goods from their plants to our warehouse, central warehouse, which is more than 50 kilometers away from the plant, and we have to bring back. When we realized that we can improve this process, because the supply is maybe 1 kilometer away from the plant, we said, why we are moving our goods to the central warehouse, we can directly get it from you. And we agreed. They agreed to do that. There were some challenges, system barriers, right? Process barriers. When we negotiate, they are in the mood. They were very receptive, and they understand our requirements. And we did that. We reduced 7 days of lead time to 2 days of lead time, right? We reduced the transport cost by 80%. That benefits we shared, actually. They are also enjoying that benefit, and we are, as an organization, we are also enjoying the benefit. So that improvement, actually, that project was more than 1 year. We took that, still is going on. So that's the beauty of that. If you select the right supplier, you can do the continuous improvement with the win-win situation, win-win mindset. You can do the improvements. So when you select the supplier, these are the high-level steps. First, you need to understand your requirement. Then the shortlist the candidates. Then, as I said, we have to do the assessment. Then we have to negotiate the terms. Obviously, as a customer, you have to do a commitment. Otherwise, they will not just agree to do a one-time delivery. You have to show the partnership. Once you do that, you can continue the business with them. So these are the mandatory areas to look for when you select the suppliers. Number 1, quality and compliance. Then reliability and delivery. If they are not reliable, if you can't rely, you have to check their history, right? Proximity, the distance from plant to your supplier base, logistic arrangements. So then the cost structure and the ethical and environmental. You have to check how they are comply with the environmental regulation and ethical sourcing standards. So those are the 4 acts, the critical aspects when you select in the supplier. Apart from that, basically you can look at capacity and the scalability, location and logistics, communication and support, how their communication. Sometimes, they don't have someone to, communicate. They're very poor in the communication. Maybe the language barriers, maybe they don't have someone there to, coordinate. The financial stability and the reputation and references. Basically, you need to check with your other customers, what they feel, how they feel, what is the background of their relationships in history. So those are the other aspects you can look into, right? Any example, guys, I need the feedback from you guys. Are you looking at those aspects when you're selecting, and what's the involvement of quality department, particularly when you're selecting? Are you guys, quality, with regard to the quality, Are you like involved in when it comes to selection process at the moment? Anyone involved?
Yes, we are doing like this. Uh, Before selection of any supplier, we also checking these four things, and also involve our quality to make the testing. MMC doing their jobs before assessment, and also quality checking according to their parameters, their material, their supplier also of that supplier from where they're getting the raw material before preparing the things. So we also doing.
Excellent. I think nice to hear that. So any other feedback, team? Also,
Okay.
anything else? Anything else we
Yeah.
should check? I have listed. I have given a list. Anything else we should check? Yeah, Til, go ahead.
When I work for my previous MNC, we do have a program called a business partnership, especially on the raw material and packing material suppliers. More than that, sir, we work with them to develop their process as well, because whatever the tools that we have obtained and what we have learned and we achieved in our factory, we are combined with our suppliers, and we use them to develop their processes and efficiency. And at the final objective is to sustain the cost without having increments. So it's one of the strategy that procurement team had done along with the QA.
I think that's a great feedback. I like that. I think this also I have to mention that. Um, so I mean, team, don't worry about the tools and theories we are discussing here. I think most important thing is the understanding and elevating your thinking process. The most important thing is by learning these tools and concepts, listening to the others, listening to the colleagues. Let's change our mindset. Let's change our thinking process. That's what is important, right? So I like the feedback from both of you. Uh, I heard the word like we are more than considering them as a supplier, we consider them as a partner. That's a huge mindset shift, right? What I've seen is, in my experience also, when it comes to the customer, you will do everything. If there's a customer visit, you will do everything, right? You will treat them at the highest level you can do. But when it comes to supplier, sometimes you don't prepare. You don't give enough attention. Maybe your next level people are engaging, even for them to have the review. You will not give the time for them, right? You consider. I think most of the organization, what I know personally, they are treating uh, like a enemy sometimes. Right? When there's an issue, if supply is coming, they are treating like keep on challenging, yeah, right? It's your baby, you have to sort it out. But that mindset is a huge change. I think I like the way Tilna used the word partnership. We have to think of the partnership, right? We have to go and improve their. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You as a quality head of quality, or the leader of the quality, you need to spend a lot of time on the proactive activities compared to the reactive. Sometimes, even though most of our quality manager says the quality manager, their main function is the quality controlling. They are 70%, 80% of their time is spent to ensure the gates are working, the quality control gates. Because if something pass to the customer, is a problem for the quality manager. Because of that, they spend a lot of time on to maintain the quality control gates. I think that mindset need to be changed. I understand if you are in a mess, yes, you have to spend a lot of time on the quality control gates, but your mindset should go beyond that, and assurance piece and the proactive piece, developing your supplier, working with the supplier to get the things right from the source. So that's the approach. I think that's the mindset change we need. If you are in a TQM journey, that mindset is very, very important for us to move forward. So thank you for the feedback again. We'll move to the yeah, this is something, you can have, the evaluation sheet. Don't try to, get the detailed one. This is just the image. What I want to show is develop something like this, the areas like a quality, maybe inspection process, the process control, right? Customer complaint managing, after sales service. Each one, you need to have a parameters, and you can give a 1 to 5, 1 to 4 scale ratings. Based on that, you can have a grading also. You have to define your own one. So based on that, you can say sometimes you have to come up with the mandatory ones. Say, for example, when I was the quality manager, I am supposed to manage the external embellishments also at one era. That time, when I am supposed to onboard an embroidery plant, external embroidery, I do the audit personally. When I notice that, if they don't have the metal detector is very, very important for embroidery plant, because, because of the product safety concerns. If they don't have, or if the right brand, if it is not working properly, even though they are good in the rest of the areas, we will not allow to onboard the embroidery supplier until they manage that piece. There are critical ones. Those ones, you have to say no compromise, even though the rest of things, those are critical ones. Critical ones, 100%. The rest of the areas, you can do evaluation, and based on that, you can decide whether to onboard or not during the selection process. Right? This is just an example. I am sure that, most of you have this kind of evaluation sheet. So as I said, those are the the benefit of that. We discussed about this, cost savings to improve the quality, to customer satisfaction. Everything will happen if you select the right supplier. So now I am moving to the evaluation. When it comes to evaluation, again, these are the 4 areas, we have to assess. This is, now think about, you have onboard the supplier. Now you have to measure his performance. Measure the performance for you to, maybe a selection process. Maybe they have artificially give the feedback, or show a different world. Now you have to measure their real performance based on these criteria. You have to measure the quality, of course, reliability of quality, and the defects pass into the production, the continuous improvements in the collaboration, how they react, their feedback, their attitude, and the cost, right? This slide I picked from the business growth. I think you remember we discussed this slide, how the TQM support to improve the business. The 2 way we can, I mentioned, 2 way we can contribute to improve in the sense the TQM can support to improve the business. One thing is the winning the customer. Identify the customer requirement, and winning the customer is number 1. This is the second piece, is the efficiency piece, which is the managing the resources, managing your cost. How we are going to do that? You can see this RM when it comes to the raw material cost. If you select, or if you don't get the right material, your RM cost will go up. Then it will directly impact on your revenue. That's number 1. Sometimes if you get the bad quality raw material, your productivity go down, because your production cannot run effectively. I remember, I will give example. One time, at that era, maybe 10 years ago, I'm talking about here, we pick one thread supplier because of the cost factor. Their thread are not strong enough compared to the previous or a regular supplier. Because of that, there were a lot of thread break during the production. Then our productivity went down drastically. Maybe the difference between the regular one and the the new supplier were very little, maybe 5% or 10% price-wise difference, but our productivity loss may be more than 10-15%. So this can happen. Then obviously when you have the poor quality, your quality cost will go up. There also you will have an impact on your overhead, and finally it will impact on the profit. So these are the three areas why it is important for us to pick the right supplier and do the evaluation and spend the time, quality time on developing the supplier, developing their processes. That's why it is important for us to have a good quality suppliers. So these are the high level, evaluation criteria. I mentioned about this. This is one of the example I can discuss with you. Maybe depend on your organization, based on your priorities, you have to decide the weightage. Give the weightage. When you develop something like similar one, you can guide. I'm just giving as a guideline. Say for example, this particular organization this is the total is 100% here. When you give the weightage, it should tally to the 100% finally. This particular example, we have given 25% for the raw material quality weightage, right? Then production lead time 20%, cost competitiveness 15%. Likewise, we have given each area based on the priorities. These numbers are flexible. You can decide based on your priorities. And each area you have to measure the performance. 1 to 5 scale, how much you can give. And the total score based on your weightage into the rating, and you will find. So here, out of total marks, total score, out of 500, they have got 415 as example. And based on that, you have to give the rating. And you have to give the comments also. And so this is a summary report. So maybe quarterly basis, depend on your requirement. Maybe you can give every 6 months, maybe every one year. I recommend, at least quarterly basis, you have to give the feedback and not just sending an email. Sometimes based on the maybe even that online team calls, you can get the face-to-face call and explain their performance and discuss how you can support to improve their performance. Because dropping a supply is easy, onboarding supply is difficult. That's why it is important for us to develop somebody and support them, and so that they will be loyal and they will be part of your continuous improvement journey as well. So these are the steps, when it comes to the evaluation. First, you have to decide on your evaluation criteria, number one. Then you have to start developing, start collecting the data and do the initial assessment, and compiling all this data into your, based on your evaluation criteria, put it in the evaluation sheet. Then doing the audits, you have to go and visit them, on-site visits, audits, and based on that, you have to assess their capabilities. Then as I said, we have to establish the feedback mechanism, and it should practice like, if you decide quarterly basis feedback, every quarter you are supposed to send the performance and have a meeting with them and come up with a corrective action plan to improve as a joint effort, not just asking for them to submit the corrective action plan. So you have to show your interest, and you are part of the journey, and you are there to support. So that mindset, that attitude, that relationship has to be, I think Rohan will cover most of it during the supplier relationship. So this is something we need to establish the base for the supplier partnership journey. So this is something we did some time back. This is how we track the performance of our suppliers, right? You can see we measure, these are all the suppliers, I have hide some of the names of, because ethically I can't show the supplier's name and the plant name I have hide. Based on their performance, we have ranked them with the total marks they have got. Right? You can see some red marks, green basically okay, yellow in the sense you can, they are in the middle. We can improve further. The red ones, basically red areas we will focus. We give special focus, and we come up with, as a joint effort, we discuss and we come up with the corrective action plan. So are you doing similar one? Any feedback, team? This, internally we are doing, and so this is the old one. 2021 report I'm just sharing for you to understand how you should monitor it. Any feedback, team? Are you following similar one? Anyone following something similar?
Not 100%.
Can we identify the gaps and start something similar? Because that's what we want, no? I think you all are there. Not just learning, and most important piece is applying something, right? If you have anything to learn from this, please learn, understand the gap, and please do something, differently, at least for, not for all the suppliers, at least for the problematic suppliers, change the mindset and having a meeting with them, assess the performance rather than, you manage case by case, assess the performance periodically. Sometimes they are good. Maybe based on the last failure, we should not penalize them. We have to look at the history of them, so that, sometimes, it will happen, no? If there is a huge failure, we will, because history maybe last 5 years, they are very good, but because of the last failure, sometimes we decide to drop them. It's not fair. If it's continuously they are giving, after giving the feedback also, if they're not correcting, if they are not interested, maybe it's high time for us to, make the decision. But sometimes we decide based on 1 or 2 failures without considering their history. So I think Rohan will cover this in chapter. Anything we can discuss? Maybe we have another 5 minutes for us to have a reflection session. What are the key learnings out of today's session? Because that's what is very important. Everyone is, as I said, we all are professionals. We are not just reading for an exam. We are here to understand the different concepts, learning from others, understand the gap, and do something differently to improve your organization performance. At the end, it will impact your performance as well. So that's what we are aiming at, right? So in that mindset, any key learnings out of today, so anything you are going to implement after this, based on these learnings, what are the key things you are going to implement today? Implement in your particular department or a particular plant. Anything you are going to do differently? This is what we should discuss, no? At the end, what are the things you are going to do differently?
Doing by supply evaluation, and first in the selection period, and also there is some criteria or some checklist to use to understand supplier base, or their resources and their capacity, quality, and whole process. So finally we has to know the supplier which level come across, like a point of quality point of view or delivery point of view. There are failures, how overcome, how to improve, and also identify there is a needed some improvements to identify, and what is the action and solution.
Super.
Thank you. Yeah.
Super. Thank you. Any other feedback? How we are going to do any changes you are going to do? That's what import. Tilna, any learnings?
Yes, sir. Normally in current operation, we have a lot of issues with suppliers because of the raw material scarcity, right? So we are now. I'm based in the coconut industry. As you all know, the country's the current prevailing issue is the scarcity of the coconut yield. So maintaining the right quality is the real challenge for us to continue our manufacturing operation and the business. So this is the critical time and the most challenging strategy for me at the moment, how to maintain the incoming quality right. It's really difficult because of the situation, because lot of adulteration, lot of mishaps are done by the suppliers, because most of the suppliers are not in a uh, uh, how do I say, the developed version. So because this is very critical for right now for my operation, so I think it's a very good and learning to how to control this by through uh, visiting them, assuring their process, and try to control at their end first. So thank you for that information, sir.
Thanks, Tilna. Benedict, any learnings today, Benedict? Any changes you are going to do?
Yes.
Should be any
Actually,
learnings today? Yeah, any
yeah.
learnings? Any changes you are going to do based on the learnings today? Any
Actually,
changes?
we have to establish a proper supply onboarding system. They have some
Currently, you don't have any process, or you have, but
Yeah, actually,
there's a gap.
we have that separate supply onboarding process, and we are
Usually, what
doing.
sort of business you are engaging?
Yeah, previously I worked for MS Holdings. Now, recently I joined with Maida Safety, the glove manufacturing company.
In Navisaville?
Yeah, Prime
Okay,
Polymer.
sir. Okay.
We have that supply auditing. We are conducting based on schedules.
Okay.
And we have an evaluation plan and separate checklist for that. Based on that, we are providing marks for individual custom suppliers, and for those who got low marks, we request we have requested a separate action plan from them.
You are meeting regularly and you are visiting them,
Yeah,
having
we have a
meetings.
schedule. Yeah, at the beginning of the month, yeah, we have that we have developers develop supplier auditing plan based
Okay.
on the yes not for all suppliers.
Okay.
Based on the prioritized suppliers, we have developed that plan.
You see the progress.
Yeah, actually.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I think what we'll do is with that, we'll break for 5 minutes. Now 8:55. By 9 o'clock, Rohan will start the session then. So thank you very much, team.
All right. Good evening, everyone. So all are there, right? So shall we start? Anybody can
Yes,
give
sir.
me a
Good
yeah.
evening, Mr. Ron.
Right.
Yeah, we
Good
can hear
evening.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think all participants are there, right? So let me the start. All right. So with the Vimal's presentation, some of the points he covered already. However, so I'm also, some of the touch points are there, what Vimal gone through here today. So actually we are covering a very important segment, a very important subject today. Why? Because as you know that most of the time as a QA or, a company, the stakeholders, they are focusing on their limit, their area, their premises to improve. Like, end-to-end process, they are trying to improve their the premises or their company. So this is one of the missing part most of the time, how they are looking at like focusing to improve supply side. As Vimal explained, most of the company, they are not they don't have mechanism to select the supplier. So because the most of the manufacturers or service company, they are struggling because of supplier the concerns, right? So because there's a one statement called GIGO. I think you may heard about that, GIGO, right? So I will come to that. So garbage in, garbage out. This stand for GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. In that sense, most of the time, customers are struggling, right? So then I'm going to explain. I'm going to go through some slides to understand how we're going to come out from the situation. All right. So how we're going to ensuring supply quality. That's my subject and two subject I'm cover. All right. I think that I heard that some of you all explain the mechanism we are evaluating the customer, identify the supplier, and how we are working with them. So further, I'm going to elaborate today how we're going to engage with the supplier to improve and get the better service from them their end. So here, as Vimal also explained that as a basement of the TQM framework, supplier relationship is a very important segment. Okay. So here, I'm expecting to give you very important takeaways from this session. So here, how you should identify the suppliers. Vimal explained that I'm also going to touch what I has explained. Systematically, to engage with them for continuous improvements with adding more values as a good strategic business partner. So think about that. As a good strategic business partner, this is a one missing part in the industry now at the moment. So most of the time, sourcing department, they're engaging with them, working hand in hand. Missing part is QA department, sometime engaging with them, half of the business. When the business start with them and negotiation go on, then only, when the manufacturing start, only then QA department engage. That is we have to pay more attention for that area. And the other point is methodologies of setting up the quality standards, which will support for both parties to sustain the business while satisfying their customer. This is very important points to cover. I'm trying my best to cover these takeaways today through my presentation. And other one is how you build a strong relationship with supplier to perform collaboratively to build a sustainable business. This is a very important part because as I said, we focusing only our end. We are missing most of the time with the supply end. That's why we are struggling sometimes, as explained, ego mechanism, like, garbage in, garbage out. When you take in the garbage, you have to out the garbage. Then we are trying our maximum best to manage the garbage inside our premises. So we are struggling like communication, wasting time. We are sending thousands of email and also, a lot of back and forth, arguments, a lot of contradictions and the consequences are coming. Our suppliers are not giving us a good service or good material, right? So those are the current challenge in the industry. I will explain you to take away from this presentation to setting up your suppliers. I heard Tilina. At the moment, you are struggling to select the good suppliers, and suppliers, they are struggling to give you a good service also. Think about that when you go through the presentation, what Vimal explained as well. So if you have a proper mechanism to manage with them, engage with them, to get service like, like a partner, not like, the third party or outside person. No, it will be your partner, then you can do a better business. Because without good supplying the items or service, you cannot manufacture, the good quality. Then you will struggle. All right. So I want to hear from you all today, right? To engage in part, like in the interact today. So what is supplier quality management? Anybody can explain, me to understand your little bit background of your knowledge. What is a supplier quality management? What do you think about that? Anybody? Just elaboration, like, definition.
Mr. Rohan, the meaning of
Yeah.
the supplier quality management, it can be few areas. So,
Okay.
we can say like process quality and
All right.
also product, how product passing rate, and as well as people capability, who in the quality
All right.
department. So, also including of the resource, how about the machinery, so innovation side, that kind of thing can help consistent quality as well as. So basically,
Yeah.
end to end, we has to be evaluate those few criteria to make how we can get right quality.
Of course.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Kausala. So let me, the systematically, let me explain. So you have to look at like comprehensively monitor them. We call systematic oversight. You have to take care of them, to engage with them to get this supply input, right? And because as you said, yes, process has to be aligned with our process. And because end of the day, supply and as a manufacturer or service provider, end of the day, we have to give a final output has to be perfect quality, right? Customer satisfied together. A manufacturer can't do it alone, right? I know because I have a lot of experience in the industry. Most of the time, sourcing department, what they do is they're selecting the supplier. As I explained, we don't know how they're selecting what are the criteria. Looking at sometimes I have a personal experience. Some of the merchandisers, they're looking at only the cost piece only. Quality, I would say, sorry about that, is compromising. I tell you one example. One of the company I work in Vietnam. So most of the time, supplier is sending us, a lot of problematic materials. What I have done, I create a project team. So we done a backward investigation to improve them, right? And we work in hand in hand. I done investigation in detail. When it comes to the end, so I during my investigation and during my the problem solving the project, one of the supplier key person come and tell me, Rohan, so we can give you a right quality as you want, but the problem is your team asks them to focus quality at the initial stage. What they are saying is just consider only cost. So quality, manufacturing department will take care. That's what one of the reason we are struggling. Think about that. As a quality guy, we are all responsible end of the day end product, right? So while doing whatever the best practice in the process, manufacturing process or service process, we are struggling because of material concern, right? So sometimes we want to send the goods 100% or more than that. But when it comes to the in manufacturing process, we are shipping only 98% or 90%. Why? Because material concern, right? As you know, the garment industry, how we manage the material. We have a very sophisticated, comprehensive inspection method in the laboratory testing and manual testing and visual inspection and all that. We identify a lot of issues during such a the process, and we are back and forth. We are sending email, fighting, those kind of a thing. Because if you have a proper supplier quality management system, right? Of course, then you will struggle little. Not you are not struggle in the manufacturing process. So then to do so, you should have systematic oversight. We call comprehensive monitoring mechanism you should have because to get the right input. And operational excellence, foundation of consistent production and operational performance. You should have a performance evaluation mechanism to align with our goals and the best practices. Then they will align with your quality management system, or either you can setting up similar kind of a quality management system in their premises or their process. So then you can I tell you one example. When I cover this Toyota production system, I got opportunity to visit tier 1, tier 2 suppliers. What they do is car manufacturer, they are making the assembly part, but manufacturer of the items, all the processes are aligned with the main process. Now here, the apparel sector or other services, sometimes you may struggle, as the illness said, even you demand, the supplier are not ready to give that because their process is not aligned with you. Process excellence are not really right. So those are the challenges and the contradictions coming in the business. All right, and why quality management system and what the quality management system required is, end of the day, customer satisfaction. Together, we have to satisfy customer, because not only we cannot do it alone, supply support has to be there, because we have to direct link between supplier, quality, and end user experience, because we have to share the end user experience with them to understand, because of the supplying material or the whatever service, because of their concern, then end of the day, end customer will struggle. So those are the things you have to look at, like, if you have a supply quality management system available in their area. So think about that. All right. So yes, I think let me go straight away, because Vimal explained this segment, the part. I'll explain touch point of that. So initial screen, how Vimal explained, and also industry past performance and industry reputation, what are the reputation they have, and they have a lot of customer complaints, or process is not right. So you have to look at that. And as previous presentation, what we done, on-site assessment need to be done, like through process reviews. You have to go and see that what are the process best practice they do have. So kind of a thing, you have to look at that. And also finally, you have to select the formally good suppliers, because you have to establish a contractual agreement with approved suppliers. Otherwise, sometimes they not agree, they not obey your, or they not align with your goals sometimes, because they are doing that totally different, different, what you call, different mission or the goal. So our goals is different. The goal has to be aligned with, supply and customer together. Otherwise, there will be a consequences. And yes, as you have to do the regular audit and monitoring. So you should have scheduled audits. Because not it can be a scheduled audit, or you make an unannounced audit. And you should have track metrics. So metrics has to be there. Monitor key performance indicators. You have to setting up it together with agreeing with them. That you can just say, okay, these are our KPI. You have to align. No, so you have to discuss with them and align, and convincing them, to achieve your end goal. So setting up some other metrics, and implement actions. Yes, and identify action issues, and then implement actions. So together you have to work hand in hand. Once you do the auditing, so if there's a critical case, minor cases, and major issues, then together you have to improve. To maintain a good quality management system over there. So I think anybody can tell me that now 1 or 2% explain. You will have comprehensive some mechanism. If you don't have, please follow these areas. You to define a tool to evaluate and engage with the customer, and selecting a proper supplier to get the right service or the good material to your process. Yes, these are the 4 major areas you look at the supply side. So you have to measure their defect rate, what are the defects they are sending here, and based on that you can propose them kind of error proofing method, and if you implement kind of a projects to improve their concern area, then if you monitor defect rate, and also you can monitor response time, how they respond your when you raise a concern, or when you voice out something to get the information or detail, then how much speed the response your request or your point. And on-time delivery is the key. This is very important for when you are working with supplier. This is one of the major challenges sourcing department struggling. They are committing, giving this material or the material on time, but based on their commitment is fair. So because of that, manufacturing team is struggling. Why they are rushing? Because customer, he never changed their delivery date, right? I think you will agree with me. Then what happened that manufacturing window will, what you call shrink, and then end of the day, quality part will struggle because everybody is rushing to send the delivery, right? Sometimes getting shortcuts to, to send the good on time. So because why? So struggling, supplier not giving the goods on time to our premises. Those are the challenges you might face, or I faced many issues from supplying. Finally, we improve them, like, engage with them to improve. We done a lot of projects. So I do remember Vietnam companies, we work hand in hand, and Thailand companies also we work in hand in hand. So I do still remember one of the, let me share one example. When I'm bringing and showing their defect rate and the data analysis, one of the pioneer in the who called textile industry, textile manufacturer, he said, Mr. Rohan, if you want to improve, you go and improve your area. I take care of my area, so I don't want to. You don't want to engage with my premises or my process to improve. Then you are doing because business on 3%. We don't want to business going to give you the business out. So that's what the challenge I face. Prasanna, somebody disturbing. Can you switch? All right. So that's kind of a challenge I faced personally. So some of the supplies might be there because we don't have a proper relationship. That's why we are trying to emphasize here myself, Vimal. You should have a proper partnership or supplier relationship to get the right quality from them. Otherwise, they will do what they want. So, we have to build their good integrity and, a good partnership with them to get the right service from them. And finally, cost of quality, you have to make, is a very directly impact our cost of quality. So you have to monitor their cost of quality as well. Previously, we might covered that, last session, cost of quality segment. These are the measuring the key area you look at performance measure of the supply. Any questions, guys, team, so far? Then if you're not clear, then I can further elaborate or any missing part. So that I have to cover some slide here. If not, then I will continue. All right. Proactive collaboration with suppliers. How you collaborate with suppliers, right? You are, as I explained, you have to start joint projects, right? Right. Like example, you can implement Six Sigma initiatives together because DMAC, you can define, measure, improve, or analysis, lot of things you can do if you implement Six Sigma segment. So that you have to work hand in hand with them to start a good projects. And also you have to create a cross-functional teams to review, teams, it's a sourcing team, the QA team, marketing team and the production team. Like together, you have to create a cross-functional team to, start a good collaborative works with supplier. And also, if they don't know the problem solving tool, then you can teach them, right? And you can work lean best practices, them to understand what are the problem solving tool. They do some suppliers are there, they are doing traditional problem solving technique, which they are struggling. They cannot get a good result from those kind of a problem solving. So you can introduce kind of a very sophisticated tool, them to understand what the problem to resolve it. Finally, the best practice sharing. So some suppliers don't know what are the perspective we are doing in our premises. So sometimes our lab facilities, sometimes the screening process in the material, and manufacturing process, what are the things we struggle. So they should understand. Then let them come and see your premises or area to share some best practices. Or you can get when they realize your manufacturing process, they will, when they go back, they will tell their team to, hey guys, so this kind of issue they are struggling because of our material concern, then they might be aligned with that, they will improve, of course. So best practice sharing is very, 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 very important. when you collaborate with the suppliers. All right. So, so how you strong relationship building up? So there are the 3 areas you look at, especially open communication, right? So that you can discuss with them your regular touch points and transparent information sharing. You can share their information what you are collecting of their service. So what you call these material concerns. So then you have to capture the data and show it them very transparently. These are the challenges you face. Because of this, our customer is not satisfied. And there is this kind of a claim we received because of you. And we also missed that kind of a, you have to open communication with them. Another one is because I have experienced when the material comes only, we are starting to work with the material. We are trying to manage the problems, right? There is no solution for the supply end. Even they are never listening because of, as I explained, the sourcing, I'm sorry to say, the sourcing and the merchandising department, what they mainly focus on time delivery and the cost. As a quality part is, I'm not saying is a stepmother treatment, however, is sometimes compromising. So end of the day, we all together will struggle because of we are receiving, as I said, bad material. And you have to build the mutual trust, right? Because confidence you have to build with them, and reliability exactly. And finally, strong relationship point. Recognition programs. You have to understand because if they perform well, you are recognized. Like you can start a small recognition award ceremony or whatever, like best certification or some kind of a gift, and together with the top management, you can request your top management. They can request their top management to come together and appreciate good employees who have performed, and data. If you now current status to future the current status, the historical data, you can show what are the performance they have done so far when you're working with as a team collaboratively. Then you have to appreciate them as well. Then these are the good the 3 point you to build up a good relationship with the supplier. So rather you are going to demand, give me a good quality, give me a quality. No, you are not ready to give you a quality. You have to work with them hand in hand. Go and see their challenges. Go and support them. Then only you can build a good relationship with them. So then will be you can receive a better the material or service you to perform in your manufacturing area. Then you can manage your area to further improve. Can you hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, all right. And here, how you leverage knowledge sharing and innovation, right? This is a very another important area you have to look at when you are building a relationship with suppliers. At the moment, I think technology is very sophisticated, and also digital world we are facing in now. So you can create a kind of a digital knowledge hub. But it's a transparent way to look at anybody. When you look at the display, so what is supplier information or their on time or quality rate, or as I explained the 4 areas, you can look at that. And joint innovation, you can do kind of improvements with them. If they struggle any the problematic area, then you can go and support them to come out with the situation with your knowledge. And success sharing, like customer they are giving a good feedback, so you can share with that them to motivate themselves. And some other very important information you can share with them for success. And let me move on. That is ensuring quality with the supplier. So I'm moving to the topic called from supply relationship to strategic partnership. How we're going to build a strategic partnership from the supplier relationship. Now we explain, Vimal and myself explain for the slides, and how you create a good relationship with the supplier. Now we are moving on to strategic partnership segment, how we're going to do that. Because here says 62% of business report improve performance with strategic supply partnership. I have to understand this, very important. So if you have a good strategic partnership, of course you can do a better service to end of the day in consumer and customer. Because without supplier relationship or the strategic partnership, you cannot perform a lot. Then you will struggle, especially quality department. If you are going to TQM application, TQM established, you should have a proper supplier engagement and supplier the relationship and strategic partnership to do a better total quality management or good service to the end customer. All right. So here, there are some levels you have to maintain, right? Understand supply relationship first. Okay. Before moving to that, you should understand supply relationship, what it is. Initiation, right? It means you have to initiate first contact evaluation of potential relationship value. Then, as Vimal and myself explained previous slide, you have to evaluate yourself like a first contact and rather them to struggle like a supporting hand. You have to initiate, and maturity levels are there. So you have to mature level. You have to bring up to building up a strategic partnership, right? Like you have to work like deep cooperation and in depth to work in hand with a good cooperation. And it can be a formal and informal exchanges like verbally communication, or you can send an email or data to them to understand your upgrade to your maturity level. And also evaluation is a very important, because when they are working, they don't know what are the gaps are they are creating in their processes. So among within the people, then to understand that, you do some proper evaluation. As Vimal explained, some of the supplier, some dashboard you have seen. So that kind of mechanism you should have. Otherwise, you don't know where I'm moving ahead. Because sometimes I might think, okay, I'm doing the right thing. Somebody come and observe or evaluate me, then only I understand I have some mistakes. That kind of a mechanism you should have. And end of the day, together you have to evolve. Improve. Like how you adapt your processes, or what are the suggestion they are adopting. The what are the innovation, or how they are adopting. Like to the evolve together. Then end of the day, uplift the market condition with a good recognition of your supplier, and the end of the day, recognition goes to the both parties if you evolve in the business. And there are 3 cycles when it comes to the supplier relationship, right? Please try to understand. Strategic partnership is one of the area to look at that. That means you do like hand in hand innovation and shared success, right? If you are working as a strategic partnership with the supplier, then you should have a kind of mechanism, do some innovation and shared their successes and your success you have to share with them. Another one, a collaborative relationship, like planning together. Now rather we are demanding, even they are struggling situation, think about you have to replan it, right? I know that some of the, when I work in MAs, some of the sub planners, they are aligned with the suppliers, the production output. Because why? We compromise our planning sometime, that because of support them. Rather we are demanding, okay, this is our plan, you have to align with that. So at the end of the day, everybody, they also cannot give us a on-time delivery. Then at the end of the day, everybody is struggling. So you have to collaboratively build a relationship, like joint planning and mutual investment need to be done. And finally, when look at the relationship life cycle, transactional relationship, that we know basic exchanges with minimal commitment. Like if you want to show kind of your profit, I know that because most of the customer not showing their profit margin, but you can tell them informally, yes, we are performing because of your support, or we are struggling because of your concern. So transactional relationship you have to build with them when it comes to the relationship life cycle. Then if you maintain those 3 areas and into maintain life cycle, of course you can do a better business with the suppliers, and end of the day satisfy the customer. And yes, this is an initial engagement phase. So you have to focus transactional focus, which means you can share, as I explained, limited information, sharing with minimal relationship investment. Like you can share, like if you are if you are going to work with us, we can invest. We can convince our top management, invest your area to do kind of innovation. or kind of the flow arrangement or whatever, you can share some of the transactional. You can focus that area. And basic metrics you can at the initial phase, rather you are creating a very sophisticated the matrix, you can start a small basic tools to monitor them, right? Evaluate them. Otherwise, sometimes some of the supply they don't understand some sophisticated evaluation, the mechanism, right? So they should understand, as Vimal explained, Kaizen, the mate, what do you call this, hosting country. If you are engaged with them and tell, okay, you have to create a hosting country, then they will, look at upside and down, upside and down. Okay, what is this? So please don't complicate them. You should create a basic matrix to evaluate them, right? Then you can, very easily monitor them, their performances. And yes, limited evolution, like 75% of supply relationship remain at this basic stage. Like, initial stage, 75% of suppliers are performing together, at the initial stage, right? So then when it comes to development phase, like, when you are developing supplier, look at this area. Information exchange between partners share more data and insights. Trust begins to form. Very important point, because data capturing, sometimes suppliers are not capturing data. End of the day, data will talk, right? So whatever you discuss, whatever you do, whatever innovation, end of the day, if you not see the proper, exact data, they are performing or not, then end of the day, business will struggle. Then you have to share your information. Now, when they receive the material, you have to evaluate their material and see that data capturing, and see what are the defect rate. You can share with them defect rate daily or weekly or monthly. Then you can review together. I remember when I work in Vietnam, so we start a good mechanism. There we integrated our digital system. Anybody can review, right? So during our weekly performance review, then we use only the one dashboard because together we create that. So very sophisticated system. Everybody very satisfied with the data capturing, real-time data. So everybody can review at any time. So you also think about that to create, because not easy. So when you build up the relationship, you can create that kind of a mechanism to review, like dashboard or whatever, to look at the sharing, exchange the information. And as I explained, planning has to be done jointly, and formal communication has to you have to create, like respect, like you have to formally communicate with them, like you can meeting or email or telephone call or SMS or a group link in the WhatsApp. So there should be a structured channel due to establish clear protocols and expectations. So think about that. And finally, value-based metrics, of course. Evolution shifts from price focus to broader value, because end of the day, money talks. So if you are not performing, if you are not making profit, as Vimal explained, so end of the day, both parties will struggle, right? So because they are supplying their goods based on money factor with the monetary value. So we have to, end of the day, we have to pay them back. So if you're not performing, then end of the day struggle to pay their the monetary value, whatever they are, give us a product, service or the material. So think about that. Value-based matrix is very important. And okay, I will share this presentation. You can, of course, Tilina, let me share this presentation. Don't worry. So then you can follow this presentation. This will be a very helpful for you to, build a good relationship with supplier. I agree with you all. Thank you. And let me move on. So this is I explained initial phase, then development phase, and this the maturity phase. We call true partnership, right? True partnership in the sense you have a good cooperation with them, like it's a high level collaboration across all organization level, like top management also working with them, not only merchandiser, not only sourcing department or QA department. High level, they have a good cooperation, the relationship with them. So that means the true partnership, the segment. So and also together do kind of a co-innovation. That means, as explained, joint development of new products, services, and process. I do remember some of the material we develop with suppliers based on the customer requirement together. As Vimal explained, like printing, stamp, embellishment. Most of the time, we also engage them to perform. Create a good the product from them. Material from them, because end of the day, their bad product come to our compound, then we'll struggle. So to avoid that, we work hand in hand in their premises, go and see what are the initial production they do. We review that, and we are giving our feedback them to improve that kind of innovation. When we work with them, we propose kind of a template or material, the innovation together we are done, and we get support from our maintenance department to create kind of a a pneumatic kind of a things, especially printing, right? So you also can do kind of a mechanism, the system. And executive engagement means leadership involvement is very important, right? If you are a QA manager level going to work with supply, it doesn't work, right? So then high level team should engage with them to create a maturity phase, good true partnership. So you gotta build a relationship. So if you are a QA manager, senior manager, GM, QA quality, if you go and explain your goals, vision, or whatever, it is useless. So high level team, you are the how to say, you are the bridger, you are the bridge person. Go and talk with your senior team. Okay, we are developing supplier. Please, you can organize the session with them to understand. Sometimes you may be a project leader, so you can tell your goals and vision them to understand. Then high level team going to work with them. Then there will be a good support you to perform if you're going to apply TQM, or if you are going to monitor building good relationship. So you can do that kind of a mechanism to align the top management, supply, and your area. So that will be a support for you to, build a good true partnership. And other one, shared risk reward. Yes, as I explained, you can reward and recognitions. Mutual investment with equitable benefit distribution. Yes. So it's supply required from, if they need support from your area, that you can talk to your management. Okay, then they will consider if they really have support in whatever, monetary support or any kind of, people support, or consider compromise their planning or whatever, then they can do to avoid some risk. All right. And what are the benefits of strategic partnership? Look at that. Yes, you are going through the cost reduction, right? Of course, when the supplier improve, they will provide you a good material or service. Then your main part, I think main struggle area will be improved. So just imagine if you receive bad quality material, then you have to struggle. You are doing more testing and over testing, a lot of testing to understand it can be batch wise or role wise, or I'm talking about apparel sector. So you are wasting your most of the time because supplier not giving you right quality. They are not ensuring their quality. So then if you have a good relationship, build a good relationship and improve together, of course, end of the day, you can do a lot of cost reduction in your area. Defect free or error proof, then end of the day, your process will be smooth, then cost will be highly improved and profit will be impacted improved. And yes, fast innovation, you'll do that, and reduce time to market to for new products and services, yes, you can introduce kind of a new products and services mechanism. So if you have a good innovation mechanism with strategic partners and quality improvement, better reliability metrics and performance standards, I explain you. So you should have a proper mechanism to, quality improvement projects, and because you have to build a good reliability. What I explained, like, reliable metric you should have. Rather you have sophisticated metrics. It can be a simple metrics to evaluate them. You have a reliable metric you should have, because data has to be very real, not is a forge or is a manipulate data. No, you have to maintain very actual data to monitor your quality improvements. And risk reduction, when you are going to work as benefits, you can gain the benefits. Risk will reduce, of course. If you have a good supplier, then end of the day you are very confident to give a good service to end customer. So if you have a good supplier partnership, also a strategic partner to get a good material or service. Right. So the any unclear area so far, anybody can, I can further elaborate if you are not clear. So so far, how is it? Did you understand my explanation or elaboration? If not, then I can, if you're not unclear some area, then I can further elaborate little. If not, then I'll move on. And key to successful supply development. So think about this. As explained initially, goal alignment. Now, supplier and if you are a customer, that goal has to be, at least some area has to be aligned, right? Because otherwise, their thinking pattern will be different than what you are going to achieve. It can't be. It has to be at least align your goal. Then together you have to work with suppliers as a strategically to perform together. And you have to do the structured programs with them, like implement formal supply development initiatives and provide resources and tool for capability buildings. Like, you can share your knowledge, them to, build a good capability, in their employees, right? You can share your feedback, them to, improve. Like you go and see that how they are working, like what are the inspection method they do follow. You can, kind of a structured program you can start with them. And yes, innovation projects you can start, and performance initiatives you can be done, of course, when you're going to work as a supplier development programs. And partnership challenges, yes, if you're going to work as a partner, there will be some challenges. Think about this. Resource investment, and then sometimes you have to sacrifice some resources. Then if they really want some labors from your end, you can support them. And if they really want knowledge, if they don't know something to create their end. So example, like data capturing mechanism to align with your digital platform, then you can support them. Like, technology alignment. So some of the suppliers still, even you work as a very systematic way, but sometimes some suppliers are not really systematic yet. So you have to support them to, align with your goal and your requirement. And other one is dependency risk, because there is a high risk if you are going to depend on each other. So think about that. You have to be more flexible. But think about that, if you are going to more flexible, sometimes they will get the advantage from that. Think about that. Limited your flexibility. Sometimes your demand has to be high. Otherwise, sometimes they try to play with you. And other one is the challenge is you may some of the traditional methods and the practices they do have. Think about that. You have to try to change to align with your goal, and it will be also another challenge. And also when you are going to work as a partner, the ship with the suppliers. Think about those are the three challenges you are going to face in the industry. And finally, how we are going to build a strategic partnership. These are the key areas you have to follow if you are going to build a strategical partnership with them. And segment suppliers. Now you can follow Google if you really want that, I'm just little explain here. So with the time, and use structured frameworks like we call strategic metrics. So if you Google it, you can understand there are key areas to follow, right? If you have segment suppliers, then you look at that, key areas like how you purchase items or supplier based on their profitability and the risk level. So that, metrics are there, you can follow that. So accordingly, you can understand how you're going to segmentation your suppliers, like how they strategically provide the items and kind of, what are the bottlenecks you are going to face kind of things. You can understand that's the suppliers, how they are struggling. So when you're going to work with this partnership strategically. And then you have to identify potential partners and you have to go and evaluate strategic alignment and capabilities they are, how they are performing there, what are the capabilities do you have. So, and if you are going to build a partnership, a strategic partnership. And develop management approaches. Yes, you have to develop management approaches like create tailored relationship governance models. Like, you can create kind of a together create a kind of a mechanism to develop both parties and with your approaches. And establish executive sponsorship, like, secure leadership support and company. You can get the support, as I explained, high level to develop supplier as we want and based on your requirement and the goals, right? So those are the slides I have to cover today. You can give your feedback or you can ask any question, then I'm willing to, further explain if you're not clear anything. Also, as your request, I share this presentation you to follow. Even I giving handouts, some points might be missing. Sorry about that. However, I'll share this presentation you to follow. This will be a very important point you to create a good supplier relationship and the strategic partnership to work to develop your business together hand in hand. All right. Any questions from your side? We have 5 minutes to discuss. I
Yes,
think
no any comments. Actually, it is very good, and we can understand what are the things how to build the supplier. Yes, it is okay. Please share the PowerPoint for us, then we can more understand. Thank you.
all right. Thank you. Very good. I'll share that. No problem. Anybody else?
The presentation actually the quite more detailed and so very clear to give us some supplier measuring performance, how we engage with supplier frequently to identify there is a gaps to a process and innovation improvements to how cost saving side and supplier and like how to build the partnership and gain the business enhancement. So finally is how to successful development both parties win-win situation. Yeah, that's all.
Of course, Kausala, because if you follow these points and, as I explained, so you can have a good relationship with supplier. Because without supplier support, you cannot perform as I explained. Right? You cannot perform well if supply not support. If they are not willing to support, then you will struggle. However, you have to you have to build a good relationship with them. Without relationship, of course, you cannot perform. Then there will be a, back and forth email, back and forth argument, then criticism, then high level management will involve. End of the day, we lose a supplier or either we struggle and we end of the day, customer will complain about both parties. So then we cannot tell supplier wrong. Then end of the day, we have to work hand in hand to give a good service to end customer. Right? Customer is our key. That's a biggest challenge because sometimes supplier not realize that when they provide their service or goods or material, then they will wash their hand. That is not a way. So they have to think about end customer, how they satisfy with their product. That to build that, this kind of a step-by-step criteria, you have to look at that to improve supplier end. Then if you follow this kind of a criteria, so as I explained, share this point, of course, I trust you can build a good relationship with supplier. Even Vimal explained how to evaluate the supplier. You can follow this kind of a sophisticated tool to align with them. Then end of the day, you can do a better job because you identify, to develop middle level suppliers, like high performing supplier, you know, to improve. So they are anyway, they are providing you the good service and the material or whatever. So you have to identify, like some of the, as Vimal also explained that. So you have to identify some weak suppliers to perform, improve. Then with your knowledge, with this knowledge, you can go and have a good discussion with them. Okay, I have a plan. So I have some points to share with you all. So let's perform together. So end of the day, we can do a good service to customer. The end of the day, profit margin will goes up at the both parties. End of the day, then you all can satisfy. So that you have to think about that, because don't wait until goods come into your the loading bay or your premises to evaluate. You can plan some people to go and evaluate before receive your service of the goods your area. Understand there are consequences, challenges. But together you can improve that, because if you demand highly, of course they give you a proper service. Because if you are not demand, then they will think, okay, granted, okay, they will send whatever they want. Then no, then as a QA guy, as a QA department or QA person or the customer or client, you have to demand yourself to get the good service from supplier. To do so, rather we are by forcing or forcing them. No, there should be a mechanism. That's why I explained myself and Bimal today how you create how you identify the good supplier and suitable supplier, how you align with our goal and your goal, and what are the key areas to look at that to build your trust and the relationship, and go for a strategic partnership. So these are the criteria you have to follow. I'm 100% believe if you follow this, you can do a better supply relationship, end of the day. I think that's it from my end. Any questions? Hey, Lita, my friend CK. CK is, key person here because he's a sourcing giant in our, sourcing senior person in the industry, apparel sector. Any comment, CK, your side? I know how difficult challenges we have facing with suppliers, how we manage. So it will be a good experience for us. Anything, Vima, the CK from you?
I think important is especially most often the supply relationship is more transactional.
Absolutely.
So something like this, you need to have a the leadership mindset of that supplier, willingness to invest in technology, collaboration, partnership, and increasing the knowledge and skills of their employees. So it's very difficult nowadays with all the challenges, with the price pressure and the value service that the customers are asking. Suppliers have become very difficult to. They have been very become very challenging task for them to keep up with these requirements, with this price pressure and other trade barriers. So the difficulty nowadays is much more challenging than those days. For the suppliers to to at least to start even think of collaborating, because otherwise what happens is more you become distant from the business, and then your business also becomes vulnerable and it will be at a risk. So being open to continuous improvement and willingness to collaborate with the customers, investment in their capacity building and all that is important for the supply. So starting is a challenge. I don't know how. I mean, nowadays, if people, even suppliers, don't want to even listen to any like of these these things. They say, you mind your own. You will give you what you want. So challenge is to get these suppliers aligned. That's the main challenge.
Correct. 100% agree. CK, thank you very much. Your very valuable feedback. As a senior person, apparel sector, so others can understand the challenges, how sourcing department and others are facing to build their trust, and because money piece comes come to play. However, so somewhere we have to start. So technically, some of the points we shared today too. How you approach supplier to get the willingness, and how you align with them to support your business, them to understand what are the challenges you facing with if you can capture the data kind of a things. So somewhere you have to start. However, yes, I agree with CK. There are a lot of challenges with supplier. They are playing a own role, rather considering like the client side. End of the day, clients struggle, client to manage their problem as well. As a current market, the challenges are there. However, think about that as a the senior person of the quality, or think about that where do you start. At least you got to make a voice and systematic way we explain here to approach and win the supplier end of the day to build a good partnership. All right, with that, let's wind up, and thank you very much today. My session, feedback also welcome and appreciate. Thank you very much. And also again, I tell you that I share my presentation to you all to further study. Okay, that's it from my end. The last slide is I think who Darshana will take over, and then let me finish my session.
Okay.
Darshana?
So, small announcement, actually, small news, right? We are going to start a lean logistic professional program. So that is another program. This program is about the lean and specialized for the logistic function. So this program will be start on July 30, that is Sunday, 7:30 to 9:30 in Sri Lankan time. So this program is suitable for especially who are in the merchandising and the warehouse, logistic fast, commercial. These are the area that people who would like to. It's good for this program. So if anyone of your friend who would like to follow a lean course on logistic, please be kind enough to nominate our program or just send us a message, then we can communicate with them. So that is a small message we need to tell. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a nice day. Good night all.